Ancient Rome had public toilets that were basically just long marble benches with holes in them, and people would sit side by side doing their business. But wait, it gets weirder. They didn't have toilet paper. Instead, they used a shared sponge on a stick called a xylospongium, which they'd rinse in a channel of running water. Imagine sharing that with a dozen strangers. These are the kinds of insane details about history they just don't teach you in school. From bizarre beauty standards to mind-bending medical practices, ancient civilizations were a wild ride. So, if you think you know history, get ready to have your mind blown. We're about to uncover 10 of the most insane facts about ancient civilizations that will make you question everything. Let's dive right in with fact number 1. Ancient Egyptians kept a wild variety of animals as pets. And we're not just talking cats and dogs. Wealthy Egyptians had monkeys, gazelles, and even crocodiles. Yes, crocodiles. These weren't just for show. They were often mummified and buried with their owners, believed to accompany them into the afterlife. Archaeologists have found entire cemeteries dedicated to mummified animals, from millions of ibis, birds, to countless cats. They even held sacred baboons that were trained to pick fruit. This reverence for animals went beyond simple companionship. It was deeply woven into their spiritual beliefs, with many of their gods and goddesses having animal heads. So next time you think your neighbor's exotic parrot is a bit much, just remember, it could be a crocodile. Moving on to fact number 2, let's talk about the Vikings. We picture them as fierce, bearded warriors, but did you know they were surprisingly obsessed with personal hygiene? Far from the dirty brutes often portrayed, Vikings were meticulous about their grooming. Excavations of Viking sites have uncovered tweezers, razors, combs, and ear spoons made from animal bone and antler. They bathed at least once a week, which was way more frequent than other Europeans of their time. They also used a strong soap with a high lye content that not only cleaned them, but also bleached their hair. Blonde hair was highly prized in Viking culture, so some darker-haired Vikings would use this soap to lighten their locks and beards. So, the fearsome Viking raider who just landed on your shore, he probably just had a spa day. Get ready for fact number 3, because it's a bit of a head-scratcher. In ancient Greece, the unibrow was considered a sign of high intelligence and great beauty in women. Yes, that thing most of us spend time and money trying to get rid of was a desirable fashion statement. Women who weren't naturally blessed with a glorious single brow would often fake it. They would use dark powders to paint a line between their eyebrows, or even stick on patches of dyed goat hair using tree resin. Philosophers and poets wrote about the allure of the unibrow, praising its sophisticated and pure look. It was seen as a mark of an aristocratic and pure-hearted woman. So, next time you're plucking your eyebrows, just remember that in another time and place, you'd be destroying a symbol of pure elegance. Now, for fact number 4, let's travel to the Mayan civilization. We know them for their incredible pyramids and complex calendars. But did you know they were huge fans of saunas? The Mayans built sweat baths called temazcal over 2,000 years ago. These were small, dome-shaped structures, usually made of stone, where water was poured over hot rocks to create immense amounts of steam. But these weren't just for getting clean. The temazcal was a deeply spiritual place, used for ritual purification, healing sickness, and even for women to give birth. They believed the steam cleansed the body and soul, helping to connect them with the gods. It was like a spiritual spa day, an essential part of Mayan life for both health and religious ceremonies. Fact number 5 takes us back to ancient Rome and their peculiar tastes. While we might enjoy a nice glass of wine, the Romans took it a step further. A popular energy drink for Roman gladiators was a concoction of ash, vinegar, and water. They believed that drinking the ash from burnt wood would help fortify their bodies and aid in recovery after a fight. It sounds disgusting, but to them, it was the Gatorade of its day. And that's not even the weirdest thing they consumed. Romans also considered flamingo tongues and parrot brains to be exquisite delicacies. The more exotic and difficult to obtain the food was, the more it demonstrated the host's wealth and status. I think I'll stick with water. Thank you very much. Let's get into fact number 6. In ancient Persia, around the 5th century BC, they had a very unique way of making important decisions. According to the historian Herodotus, the Persians would first debate the matter while they were completely drunk. The theory was that alcohol would loosen their inhibitions and allow them to speak more freely and creatively. Then, the next day, they would reconsider the same decision while they were completely sober. If they still agreed with their drunken conclusion, the decision was made final. This process also worked in reverse. If they made a decision while sober, they'd get drunk to reconsider it. They believed this two-step verification process gave them the best of both worlds, passion and reason. I'm not sure it would fly in a modern boardroom, but you have to admire their commitment. For fact number 7, we journeyed to ancient China, where foot binding was practiced for centuries. This painful tradition involved tightly binding the feet of young girls, as young as 4 or 5, to break their arches and curl their toes under. The goal was to create tiny lotus feet that were only about 3 to 4 inches long. These small feet were seen as a mark of beauty and status, a sign that a woman was wealthy enough not to have to work. The process was agonizing and resulted in lifelong disabilities, making it difficult for women to walk. It was a brutal standard of beauty that reflected a woman's subservient role in society. Finally, being outlawed in the early 20th century, it's a chilling reminder of how far cultures will go in the name of beauty. Fact number 8 is about the Aztecs and their unique form of currency. While they did engage in trade and barter, they also used cacao beans, the same beans we use to make chocolate as money. Cacao was so valuable that it was used to buy everything from food and tools to clothing. For example, a turkey might cost you 100 cacao beans, while a canoe could set you back several thousand. This also meant that counterfeiting was a real problem. Some clever tricksters would hollow out the cacao beans, fill them with dirt or clay, and try to pass them off as real. So, for the Aztecs, money really did grow on trees, but you had to watch out for fakes. Imagine being able to eat your spare change. Let's head back to ancient Egypt for fact number 9. We all know about their pyramids and mummies, but what about their medicine? Egyptian doctors were surprisingly advanced for their time, performing complex surgeries and setting broken bones. But some of their treatments were questionable. For example, a common contraceptive was a mixture of crocodile dung, honey, and sour milk, which was formed into a paste and inserted before intercourse. They believed the acidic nature of the dung would act as a spermicide. For an eye infection, they might recommend a treatment of bat's blood. And if a patient had a splinter, the remedy often involved a poultice made of worms, blood, and donkey dung. While some of their medical knowledge was groundbreaking, other parts were a messy and bizarre mix of magic and medicine. And finally, our 10th insane fact comes from the mighty Spartan warriors of ancient Greece. Spartan society was built entirely around creating the perfect soldier. From the age of 7, boys were taken from their families and entered the Agoge, a brutal state-sponsored military training program. They were intentionally underfed to encourage them to steal food, teaching them stealth and resourcefulness. If they were caught, they were flogged, not for stealing, but for being clumsy enough to get caught. To make them tough, they were forced to walk barefoot and were given only one cloak to wear for the entire year, regardless of the weather. The training was so intense that weakness was not an option. It was a harsh and unforgiving system designed for one purpose: to create the most feared and disciplined army in the ancient world. And there you have it, 10 of the most insane and mind-blowing facts about ancient civilizations. From shared toilet sponges in Rome to drinking ash for energy and using chocolate as money, the past was a much stranger place than we can imagine. It just goes to show that history is full of surprises, and there's always something new and bizarre to discover. Which of these facts shocked you the most? Let me know down in the comments below. I love reading what you guys think. If you enjoyed this journey into the wild side of history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from the past. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.